Hello and welcome back to the Great Lakes Disc YouTube channel. I'm Brian Popowolf Frawley, and I'm excited to interview Payton Staman today, Indiana Pro and Team Great Lakes member, along with Team Discraft as well. We appreciate you liking, subscribing, sharing, whatever you can do to help more people watch these. And remember, as always, we've got a giveaway at the end. So to check out how to win this Luke Taylor disc, make sure you stay tuned to the end. Without further ado, here comes Payton. And welcome back to the Great Lakes Disc YouTube channel. Thanks for checking us out. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Today, we are here with my good friend Payton Staman. How you doing today, Payton?
Doing great. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I'm glad we finally gotten the chance to sit down and we've known each other for a while from your time back on Discraft Underground and just kind of selling and buying and trading. But not everybody knows who you are, and they should. You're a great guy. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your disc golf origin story?
Yeah, so I actually started playing disc golf around 2010, back when I lived in Roscoe, Illinois. A couple of my buddies, we were in seventh grade. They were like, "You should try this disc golf thing." And at the time, I was a gymnast. I prior to that, I was a gymnast for 8 years, and eventually was a diver for 8 years. So sports were always important to me, and I found enjoyment through them. So I was like, "Oh, I'll go try this disc golf thing or whatever." And I started going every couple of weeks with them until I finally got enough discs to begin starting to play by myself. And I remember I shot -4 on our little 9-hole course, Porter Park in Roscoe, Illinois. And I told them, I was like, I shot -4, guys, and no one believed me because it was such a good score for a relatively new player, and it got me hooked. And so I just started playing all the time. And at that time, I was riding my bike to the course to be able to play more, because obviously I couldn't drive being so young. Played through, seventh and eighth grade, and then in high school all the time, in parallel with also being a diver. So I was doing like 2 practices a day for diving. I would get home, do my homework, and then I would ride my bike 3 miles to go play like three rounds of 9 holes of disc golf. So, me and a bunch of buddies, we just, want to see who could throw the farthest. We tried different grips, we tried different discs. We're on like all the manufacturer websites, looking up all the, you just got that disc golf bug. So that's kind of how it started. I took a 4-year break in college because diving really was just, at that point it was paying for my school, and really the most important thing for me at the time to focus on, in addition to my schoolwork. But disc golf basically took a backseat because of that. And then I graduated in 2020, right during the pandemic. So of course, another, big time for disc golf. And it was actually at our national championships. We did our prelims in the morning, which, senior year after 16 years of, gymnastics and diving, leading to that moment. And kind of, we did prelims, and then halfway between the event, before we got into finals, we got a call that the tournament was, or the meet was shut down. So that was the same day they shut down NCAA, March Madness, and everything. So kind of left a really sharp ending to a career for a lot of us that year. And so that was like, okay, what else do I do? Like, I need something to spend my time with. I wanted to be outside of the dorms, something to train for, something that was physical, something that tested me mentally, something that had a community. And I was like, oh, I used to play disc golf. So I just started going, found my bag that had been in my trunk of my Civic for 4 years unthrown, and started playing tournaments.
Yeah, that's unfortunate about the ending of your collegiate career. As a collegiate athlete, kind of barely a club collegiate athlete. I couldn't imagine having my senior year cut short. So kudos to you for redirecting that negative energy into a positive thing with your disc golf. So you're obviously competitive, and you mentioned gymnast and diving and disc golf. Those are all kind of individual sports. Is that something that kind of motivates you? You versus the field, or you versus the course, is that how you stay motivated?
Yeah, and that's a great question. I think that's something I think about sometimes when we're playing doubles or singles, or we go through the different formats of disc golf. There was a very short period of time where I tried playing basketball. Well, it was longer than I would like to admit. It was 5 years that I attempted to play basketball, and I was always the 13th string, like, I was like the or the 13th guy. It was like the third string point guard, always thrown in the last 40 seconds of the game. Out of all those years, I made like only a couple of baskets, a couple of points. So I was just no good, which, was for me, and as a gymnast, I was like a multi-time national champion, and going to that where I like can't hold the ball without turning it over was like, it kind of opened my eyes. It's like, okay, like one of these things are you're good at, one of these things you're not. So yeah, I like team sports. I think now in disc golf, when we have things like the Indiana has the Hoosier Club Challenge, I really, really love the team chemistry. Like we all win together, we all lose together. But I have always found that individually, it always seems easier for me to process kind of my performance, just because if I don't do it well, it's on me. And if I do well, it's on me, And so like I think that way it's easier for me to just yeah, some of those more individual sports, I can process them a little bit easier. But of course I love getting with the team for different team events.
Yeah, and it's fun for the social side. Maybe not the on the course, but having a pint or having a bite to eat together is always fun as well. So
Yeah.
you're great on social media. We see you practice on social media. We see you lift weights. You're a workout warrior too. It looks like you take good care of yourself. So what is your routine, if you will, practice versus gym versus other things? How do you handle all that?
Yeah, that's a good question. And one of the things, you mentioned weights and all these different categories. One of the things I really appreciate that, like Ricky Wysocki says on a couple of his interviews, is kind of like world champion mindset. And that's something I try and adopt, from every category, whether it's the discs that I collect. I kind of there was a period where I collect a lot of discs, whether it's my eating habits, sleeping habits, my social media, like you mentioned, my workout routine, my, disc golf, my relationships, both out of and inside disc golf. So I really try and like, optimize and be the best version of myself in all those different areas. So that mindset kind of dictates what my schedule is. Um, so typically I have like Monday, Wednesday, Friday is usually my workout split. I'll hit legs and core on Monday, chest, triceps, and shoulders on Wednesday, and then back and biceps on Friday. And those are kind of built that way just because typically I always lift the heaviest on legs. I love legs. And then chest is like, it's like a medium intensity day. And then my other day is like kind of my lighter day. So it kind of, I will be most exhausted earlier in the week, and then I'll be more recovered by the end of the week, because usually I have a big tournament on the weekend. So my workout schedule is that way. In terms of playing league and practicing and all of the rest of the training piece, I typically play. We have a really great Tuesday league here at Brookside Park. So I always play Tuesday. That's like my one rock solid. I'm always playing on Tuesday. I mean, I play basically every day. I think before this weekend, I had like 37 rounds through the last 30 days on UDisc. So um, probably more than what is healthy. um, but yeah, I usually play league once or twice a week, and then the other days I will practice a course that is most closely aligned with the tournament I'll be playing over the weekend. And then I typically try and do like I go through phases of doing this and not doing this, but 100 practice putts in my backyard a day just to keep the putter, fresh.
Yeah, I think that's one of the keys to any player, pro or am, is just pick up your putters every day. Like just try it. Like even if it's 25 putts, just do it. Like you're gonna get so much better, more consistent.
Yeah, and I think honestly, just uh, if you just get out there, like for me, I'm like, okay, I'll just do like 100 putts, and a lot of times I end up doing more just because I can go through. If I have 10 putters, I can go through 100 putts in like 10 to 15 minutes,
Yeah,
like pretty quick. So and then you're like, well, I want to keep working, or I feel like just showing up will usually yield more practice than you even think.
Yeah, so we have the on the course practice, we have the backyard practice, we have the gym practice, but now we live in a world where we have to practice another skill, and that's social media because we're all marketing ourselves, we're all marketing our own brand.
Mhm.
So you've got a great social media platform, so I'll lead off with an easy question. What's easier for you as you're being a creative mind, that pre-event push or that pre-event post or the post-event post? What's easier for you?
Yeah, this is a good question. Um, I saw this question, and it's funny because my brain, in terms of social media, I've tried to stop training it to even think this way, like pre or post event, creating my social media around events. And I do think that is a big piece of disc golf is people love following other people's tournaments and tours, and I think that's great. But as someone who in past years has really only, 80% of my posts have been, I'm playing this tournament, this is how I did, or this is how I didn't do as I, wanted. I found that tying my disc golf content to my ability to perform is not always something that I like or enjoy. Particularly if I'm in a bad stretch, then I don't like my social media theme reoccurring to be, well, I didn't play as good as I wanted, and everyone goes through that. So it pretty much ties it to my performance, and vice versa. If I'm just playing on fire, sometimes posting your good results can feel like you're just like asking for compliments and things like that. So um, my goal this year, I had wrote down, I have 10 or I have 8 goals for this year, and one of them is have an intentional strategy with social media. Let your personality drive your content, not tournament results or accomplishments, and be authentic. So that was kind of my goal this year, and I follow a number of different social sites and people that post these really silly edits that it's like fake realism. It's like you can obviously tell it's fake, but it kind of looks like it's real. And so I've gotten into that territory to try and make some funnier and unique edits to kind of separate myself. Um, I also think one thing that a lot of people don't do is just do a little research, and there's a lot of great apps. I think a lot of people ask me what editing software I do. I do everything. All of my posts are 100% made for my phone. So I don't use any Adobe or computer products. And CapCut is like a really easy place to start. You can just upload your videos. It has lots of different, it's free, which is great. And then they even have templates where if you upload pictures or you upload videos, it will like create an edit for you. So I've used some of that even. And so it makes it really simple. So just I would say to other players, think about what kind of content you like to watch and try and create that content. So for me, it was like those silly edits and the superhero landings and the stuff you see on my social media. And I was like, I enjoy that stuff. I think it's cool. So I'm going to learn how to edit that. And then I do think it is great to do tournament recaps, especially to highlight your sponsors, to thank your sponsors, to provide kind of that story arc that you're going through. I think that's all appropriate. But I think it's nice when it's not the only thing that's on your social media.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's cool to engage. It's cool to see how people did, but I'll use your Captain Thrasher post most recently. I thought that was great. So yeah, check out Peyton's socials. We'll link them all in the description below. But yeah, his Captain Raptor or Captain Thrasher reel that he just put out is definitely worth searching and finding. It made me laugh. It made me chuckle. So you can see a lot of Peyton's personality in that for sure.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, and I
Uh,
think before we move on, um, I think in this day and age in disc golf where social media is so big, not only do you need it to build your brand, but you really need it from a sponsorship standpoint. And a lot of people ask me like, what do I need to do to get on, back when I was on the underground, what do I need to do to get on there? What do I need to do to get to this XYZ sponsorship? And at the end of the day, most sponsorships are sponsorships because they're helpful for both the player and the company sponsoring that player. And so you have to think as a player, almost like this is a business agreement where, and obviously, there are people and great people like you and Shay that, there are personalities. It's not just all business, but it is about providing value from one party to another. And so if they're helping you out as a player, social media is one of the best places that you can provide that value back to them. And so that Captain's Thrasher video, in the past I've just done, this is how it flies. Here's me throwing it, that's kind of the typical review. And I thought maybe more people would see this if I didn't even talk about the disc and I just made it do some really silly things like break the sound barrier and fly through the universe. So, I think it's get creative with this is your platform. For me, I'm with Ridge Roller. So how can I promote Ridge Roller? How can I promote Tacky Sacks, which is another one of my sponsors, and then Discraft and Great Lakes. So
Listen, producer Zach and everybody else that's watching this, eventually we're going to clip that whole section out and we're just going to play it on repeat for everyone that ever wants to ask us about how to get sponsored. So that was a great description. Also, pros, please note how he slid in his other sponsors as well. He just slid those in without even noticing. He's just a smooth operator. So keep that in mind. So tomorrow, there's only one social media platform for the rest of the world. What is it, and why do you choose that for marketing yourself in disc golf?
okay, so for marketing myself, that changes my answer. I was initially like between Facebook and Instagram. Maybe I'm like already aging myself. I don't have TikTok. I try and stay away from TikTok just because Instagram Reels already sucks me in enough. And I used to use Snapchat. Yeah, I know that's probably not even the best platform. But yeah, really Instagram is like the only one I promote my disc golf content. I just share it to my Facebook as well, just because I know there are some people that follow there. I think Facebook is actually still a really good platform to facilitate disc golf events and activities with disc golf, from collecting and selling and team pages and club pages. So it's hard because I definitely need all of those things, like all the club coordination and talking with people about disc golf on Facebook. But in terms of my brand and my media and my content, I would have to say Instagram.
It makes sense, and I don't think you're aging yourself too much. I'll age myself and tell you my favorite is X. So there you go.
Nice.
140 characters, and I'm out like a trout.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't think that's aging you at all. I mean, I was kind of thinking you were gonna say MySpace, like based on how you set that up.
yeah, I had a MySpace. Let's not judge. All right, let's move on. So, what is currently your favorite disc in your bag?
Favorite disc in my bag. So I have my bag over here. I brought it because I knew this question was coming. All right, so I will do runner up and my favorite.
Okay.
Runner up has to be the 2020 Tour Series Buzz. Everyone that knows anything about my bag knows I throw these and I collect these, and I have like I used to have at one point like 40 of them, and they're not cheap either.
No.
And this particular, like I really like orange and pink with this like Shatterberry foil. That's kind of my like signature collected disc. So this is a runner up, and my favorite, which has just been in the last couple of years, has completely surprised me, and it's just such a phenomenal disc, is the Buzz SS. And just something about this disc, it's good. In this run, this is a 2021 D-Glow run. It's when I started throwing them in 2021. So I'd spent, 3 years now. And it's just so great because you can throw it dead straight in an open field and a golf course for approaches, however you want, and you can throw it. And the real work that it does is in the woods, because I naturally, my throwing style is a little more hyzer flip up opposed to like a flex line. And so for me, I started on a little bit of hyzer. It flips up to flat and it will just finish straight. And then as I begin to beat it in, it will have just a little bit of turn. But I think the interesting thing that separates these two is the Buzz SS, at least this run, is extremely torque resistant. So you can throw it really, really hard, at least the ones that I've thrown, this run, and they will not dump. Occasionally I will throw my Buzz, and if it's beat in, it will actually dump over and turn. If I get off axis torque, it will kind of dump right. But they're less stable than the Buzz, but they're more torque resistant, which I think is just, as someone who likes to throw the disc really hard, and I'm more of a power player than a finesse player. I'd rather just throw a slower speed harder. That's like a perfect disc for me. And then I think even not at like the top level, if you're, you know, uh, 750 rated or higher, like the Buzz SS, based on your arm speed, is going to fly for you the way that the Buzz flies for the pros, which I think is a huge thing. Like if you want that nice flip up and straight flight, with a little bit of hyzer at the end, the Buzz SS is going to be a great disc for you. So yeah, I love it. I think this specific plastic is kind of that old Elite Z nice plastic. And I've also had to stock up on these because they don't make this run anymore. So and I mean it's just got that nice signature bar stamp that is just
Yeah.
so classic for Discraft's lineup too.
It definitely is classic. It's one of my most thrown frisbees as well. So shout out Buzz SS. So thinking from the pro mindset, obviously added cash is one of the biggest factors in choosing tournaments. We all want that payday. But what are some other things that you look at when you're picking out your tour schedule or the courses you go play?
Yeah, that's a great question. And just for everyone listening that doesn't know me, I do have a full-time job and I'm a mechanical engineer is I guess that's what my degree is in. I work for a utility company. So I'm like, I have to be specific about what events I can go. I only have a certain amount of PTO and certain number of tournaments that I can play, which usually ranges from, if you count unsanctioned tournaments, it usually ranges from 20 to 25 events per year. 15 to 20 sanctioned events. So that being said, a lot of the criteria are proximity to where I live. I like to keep things within a 5-hour drive, just because I don't like driving alone for long distances. So usually, that 5-hour mark, if it's a huge tournament, I can stretch a little further. But so that's the first thing. Second one is the course itself. I really, there's some courses that I like, there's some courses that I don't like. I mean, obviously everyone kind of feels that way, but there's certain courses that I know I'll have fun on. So like Lake Arvesta is a great example. I played the Michigan Hall of Fame Classic last year, and I pretty much always watch like a YouTube drone flyover or a review to get like some idea. I generally like courses that are longer. So whether that's woods, I played the Lower Peninsula Open this year, and I love Bald Mountain. It's a really long course, but it's through the woods and it's very challenging. So like I love that. And I also love Lake Arvesta, which kind of has a mix of open and slightly wooded shots. So I generally like longer courses, something that I can score on or have, an advantage on. And then I also look for who's playing it, how much added cash is there, and how does it fit with the rest of my schedule. So there are some events that unfortunately I don't even get to play that I know I like the course. I know it's close. I know there's good added money, but there's just another tournament that's just a little, closer, a little more added money. I like the course a little bit more. So it just kind of depends on how everything lines up.
Well, that's a good choice. And we call that adulting around here. Sometimes you can't pick the ones you want to because you just got adult responsibilities. What are you gonna do?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So let's move on to what is your favorite course you've ever played?
I would probably have to say Lake Arvesta in Michigan. I just mentioned that that was probably my number one. I think there's just a variety of I feel like every green has something unique, up on a stump, a hanging basket, in a cool grove of trees or whatever that specific hole has, plus all the tee shots are, like lake one, hole one, excuse me, is, shooting over a massive lake. You're maybe 100 foot elevated, shooting way downhill. So there's a number of holes where you need that angle control. Of course, you have the lily pad hole, which I have my reserved thoughts about that. Basically two inbounds sections, so I think there's a lot of character in that course. It's also challenging and you get to throw a lot of fun shots. Plus, everyone I played with, I had like really good cards for every round of that tournament. So I just was like a positive all around.
Makes a big difference, especially when you're comparing, two courses that are really close to each other as far as skill or technical skill. And but one card you got a great vibe, one card you don't, it leaves a different taste in
Right.
your mouth for sure.
Yep.
All right. Well, as we close out right here, why don't you take some time to give a shout out to your sponsors or anything like that?
Yeah. So first of all, I want to thank Team Discraft. Last year they promoted me from Discraft Underground to Team Discraft, and honestly, it was something I had been training for and shooting for a long time. So it has been a dream to be a part of that team and be able to wear that logo on my back and represent the touring team. So shout out to Team Discraft. And also a new change this year was with being with the Great Lakes Discs. I think, yeah, surprised I'm here. But seriously, thank you so much to you, Brian, and Shay for that was kind of a last minute. I think it was in January when
Yeah.
that happened, kind of last minute in terms of sponsorship season that happened. So I appreciate you guys kind of being able to take me under your wing and let me join on the team as well. So yeah, shout out Great Lakes Discs. And then my last two are Ridge Roller, which I've been on their team for 2 years, and Joe Robinson, in my opinion, makes the best cart in disc golf. I always say it's like the Bugatti of disc golf. It's seriously, there's like nothing I would change about it. It's so, and he keeps finding things to improve and make better. And I'm like, it's like, just shining the brass at this point. It's such a phenomenal product. So, and I had to play over the weekend, I had to play a course where it's kind of like Wildlife in Peoria. If you've ever played
Yep.
there, it's super rugged, lots of up and down, not a cart friendly course. And fortunately, I had my Ridge backpack that I could use, but I was just like, oh man, it's like I miss my cart. It just saves so much energy, and it just has so much storage capacity. So shout out Ridge Roller. And then my last one, which is also new this year, is Tacky Sacks. And so they made a little tour series tacky sack for me with my signature, which this has been something that I didn't know that I was missing in my game. And they
Yeah.
sent me a couple to test out, and we worked on the art together. And this weekend, when it was 90 or it was upper 80s and super that Midwest humidity in
Oh yeah.
Indiana, just a game changer. And so he sent me 100, and I've already sold out of I think 60 of them already in just the early season. So if you guys want to support me, the tacky sack, that's a great way to do it. Another way you can support me is using my code, which is just Payton, just my name, on any of your purchases for Great Lakes Discs on their website.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you can purchase some great Discraft discs with his code from our website and do a 2-for-1 there. Well, we've got a little giveaway today, and we're going to make it easy, folks. All you got to do is go on to Peyton's Instagram, which we are going to link in the comments or in the description below. Give him a like or a follow. And if you've already done that, you're already entered. Just comment below that you give him a follow. In a couple weeks, we're going to pick a random person for a Luke Taylor disc. So see, we're doing a cross promotion here. Discraft teammate and Great Lakes disc teammate to you as well. So we'll hand out a Luke Taylor disc to somebody. Peyton, I can't thank you enough for taking some time to chat with us this early morning. No matter when you're watching it, we're recorded it early in the morning. Best of luck to you in the rest of the season. And in general, just thanks again for being a cool dude.
Hey, Brian. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's always great to talk with you, and I would love to continue more interviews or more conversation with you at any time. So thanks for having me.
Sounds great, man. Until next time, keep it in the fairway, everyone.